a regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen, today, November 14th, 2019.
Fourth.
What did whatever I said
Not
was
the
wrong,
14th.
it's November 4th.
Very much not the 14th.
The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll clean that spot on my glasses. Next item is approval of minutes. The first minutes are from our October 21st meeting. I'll make a motion to approve. I have two corrections. The first one on page 1, there were, no. Yes, should be a space between two, it should be 3 yes votes and 0 no votes. Is that correct, Robin? Under the approval of minutes. So there was a motion made from before. Was it corrected to say 3 and 0?
Is that one that I was not at, so I.
Yeah, but it,
No, you were at that
I
one.
was at the 7th?
It was, I think.
okay, yeah, so it should be 3 yes
three
and 2 no.
yes.
Okay, that was my one note. The other is on page 3, under e-finance plus, 3/4 of the way down, recurring fee, the 4 should be a $sign.
Okay.
Second.
Oh, okay, I see that. On the end, I would add also on that same thing, RFP results, the date, the 2015.
Oh, yes.
The date you have 2019.
I just crossed that, you can see it crossed out the 8 above. Okay. Any other corrections? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We also had a meeting from October 23rd. I move to accept those minutes as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Is there anyone present to speak? Okay. Well, thanks for just coming out. Under correspondence, if you can believe it, we have had no mail come into the selectman's office or correspondence since our last meeting. Status report, I did mention that we had a resignation at our last meeting. So Emily Perko, who was our assistant, left us. All reports are she had a great first day at her new job, so we miss her already. She will continue on until a replacement is made, be reporting secretary for inland wetlands and planning and zoning. That those were part of the duties in the change made when her hours were increased and CMEs were decreased. So she has agreed to continue to take those minutes until such time as her position has been filled.
Okay.
Okay, and that the replacement that would be one of the responsibilities.
Posted that yet?
It was posted, it is currently posted internally with the union.
Okay.
So we anticipate it, unless we're granted a waiver before, it should be posted in the paper this coming Saturday. Right. Public Works. So Public Works, since we last met, have been working on roadside mowing. They took care of the drainage project at Turnpike Road, if you recall. Beth Walshins had come in and asked about that work. So that project is complete. They just have to do loom in the spring. We've had some issues here in the town hall, one with pipes and a toilet in the upstairs ladies' bathroom and some drain issues in the downstairs bathroom. They've been digging out waterways, picking up trash at River Road, working on cleanup after the Halloween storm. They've cleaned up the shop, moved some desks around here at the TOB. Troy's asked that we remind everyone Village Hill is currently slated to be closed with a detour to Schofield Road this coming weekend, Friday the 8th through Monday the 11th, starting 6 p.m. Friday through 6 a.m. on Monday.
So it's continuous closure, it's not overnight? Like
It's
it was
overnight.
planned
It's continuous from Friday at 6 p.m. through Monday at 6 a.m. there's a slight possibility it may not take them that long, and if it doesn't, they will open the road when they're done.
Depends what happens Thursday night.
That is
Friday.
correct, that's my, next item is, today they spent preparing for possible snow on Friday, so that could change any of those plans, so we will share them as we know. Troy wanted to give us an update on the replacement of oil tanks and, at the old town hall. He did receive 3 quotes, one from Heritage Oil for $3,400, one from Energy Unlimited LLC for $3,400, and from MCOR at $4,970. Troy is recommending a plan to go with Energy Unlimited LLC for $3,400. So that's replacing the 2 oil tanks with one 330 oil tank. And a reminder to residents, when trees are down and impacting wires, Public Works crew will not remove that tree until Eversource makes it safe to do so. Typically, Eversource has their tree crews that remove the trees and the live lines, and the Public Works crew at that point can clear what is left over. Oftentimes, they come in with their own crew to do all of it. Such was the case with the tree that was down on Old Farms Road this week, last week's storm, so on Saturday, that was the last remaining large outage, but the tree was entangled in the wires. So Eversource brings in their tree crew, it's not ours, that's handling that. So he wanted to make people aware of that item.
There's one at the end of, near my house on Gold's Hill,
Yes,
that was across the wires.
correct. It was a much smaller tree, but across the wire, so.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah,
touched it.
nobody was touching it. Okay, so item A, under new business, we had a request from a resident regarding a home that has a crumbling foundation. So the request was to waive some permit fees as a result of extensive work that would now need to be done at their home. So the request was from Maggie and Vincent Paracchio. So Maggie's here to speak to us. I'll let her speak.
Sure, so, we unfortunately have a crumbling foundation, and, I believe that if we raise the house, the building permit associated with raising the house would be waived. Unfortunately, our house is not stable enough to be raised, so, we are now looking at demolishing our house and having to rebuild, our home on the existing land. So now, with us coming to get a building permit, we have no waiver of any building permit related to our foundation. So we're asking for the same consideration of if we were raising the home, the permit would be waived, if there's a possibility for us to have our permit waived now that we have to rebuild our home.
So with that request, and I spoke to Maggie's husband last week when we started the discussion. Back in 2016, there was a town meeting that authorized the Board of Selectmen to find a solution to offsetting some of those permit costs. And so the board did, at that time, give authorization to the building official to waive any permit fees as a result of lifting the home and replacing the existing foundation. This case is different in that if they were to lift the home, there's enough structural damage that the home would more than likely collapse. So our building official did actually go out. I believe you each have a copy of Jim's report after visiting the Paracchio's home last week. He would he sees no objection to us taking action if we so choose to mitigate permit costs. I think this is a unique situation. We did reach out to the liaison with the state. If there are 3 homes that we are aware of, maybe with this case, it's a small number, and I think we need to look at them on a case-by-case basis. I think it's important that we see what we can do to help get people back into their homes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Maggie, originally you were told you wouldn't be eligible then for the money for the foundation, and then they found a way around that.
Correct, so we're still receiving funding through CSIP actually I have a CSIP grant with the state, not CSIP. It's with the crumbling foundation, captive insurance, so they'll cover their same amount, that they would cover if we were raising the home.
So we could be looking at anywhere, depending on the structure, anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 in fees. So, as the captive, I still call it captive septic, was able to look at their language and see that they could then still be able to find them eligible for funding. I think it's important that we take a look at it in the same way. So I would like to move to authorize the building official to waive all town fees associated with construction of a new home at 107 BOS Road. This waiver only applies for this home as a direct result of existing structural deficiencies caused by a crumbling foundation. This waiver shall not apply to any fee required to be charged by the state of Connecticut and Eastern Highlands Health District. Upon waiver of the fees, the building official shall notify the homeowner in writing that the fee has been waived, including the amount of all fees waived. The waiver provision shall be effective November 4th, 2019 for the duration of the project until the certificate of occupancy is issued.
Second?
Okay, so discussion?
I just saw this letter here tonight. Jim writes, so while my office is limited to what costs we have the ability to waive as a result of the foundation failures, we would have no objection to the Board of Selectmen taking action to mitigate permit costs to the homeowner in this instance. And I would be very much in favor of waiving whatever costs we can. I'm just afraid, you know, he kind of just kicked the ball back to our court.
He can't, so the only fees Jim's office has the ability to waive are those that the Board of Selectmen has authorized him to. So in this case, it's those fees specifically involving the replacement of a foundation. So he doesn't have the ability. And so what Jim did was go out and take a look at this particular structure and then weigh in on that. So he didn't, the request came from the homeowner. He got involved because we asked him to take a look at the home, and if he believes what we were being told is that it needed to be, needed to come down. I will tell you, I have been in the Parafios home with some state officials to take a look at it. It's devastating, to say the least. And if we can do anything to mitigate that, there is a loss of these building fees to the town, but I think the outcome certainly outweighs that. We cannot waive, what we cannot waive, and that's why I outlined it specifically in my motion, fees for the state, so that's 26 cents per thousand, and any fees from the health district. So we don't have the ability to waive those.
So we're basically waiving anything that we have the legal ability to waive.
That is
for.
correct.
I'm in favor of that. I'm just concerned, you know, that with the state and all that, like you said, the 26 cents per thousand, I don't think the state's ever gonna give anybody a break though.
No, if they did, originally, when the motion was originally made in 2016, when we authorized the fees associated with the foundations, we said the same thing, all but the state then waived those fees. So if you were just doing the foundation, so there is still room for discussion for us to see if those could be waived, but because we don't have the ability to make that call, I put that language in there specific, but it doesn't mean that I won't continue to advocate for this homeowner. And I believe that the language in here is strong enough that it speaks just to this instance, and we should take anything outside the norm on a case-by-case basis. And to the best of our knowledge, we do not have any other homes in dire need of repair as the Parafios currently, or in the same state of repair. Any other discussion?
Agreed. I do think it makes sense at some point, though, to have a standard for when we'll entertain an application for waiving fees above and beyond what we currently have.
If we thought we needed some engineering reports or some more.
Right, like if there's.
specific structural permissions.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
And in this case, I don't believe an engineer has said this, it was the contractor would lift the home. At that point, then would not, and that is another reason why Jim got involved and went out to take a look at it, because there wasn't an engineer report that was saying, no, you can't do this. And he hadn't been out to the home in his capacity yet, so he did that to take a look to see. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We'll share this information with the building official so that when, and we made it to the address because most of the permits will be pulled by contractors, not yourself. And so make sure that they're aware, and anything else we can continue to do and advocate on behalf, we will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I wish the outcome were something different.
Thank you.
Okay, item B, we have some reappointments to our WISE committee, the Willington Sustainability and Energy. I'll move to reappoint Carolyn Johnson as a regular member of WISE, Willington Sustainability and Energy Committee, effective, November 5th, 2019, expiring November 4th, 2022.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I'll move to reappoint Norman Nadeau as a regular member of WISE, Willington Sustainability and Energy Committee, effective November 5th, 2019, expiring November 4th, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have no old business.
Don't say anything.
Barring any other good and welfare.
Don't say anything.
I'll still mention, we have 2 openings for CIP. I believe I had an email communication from a member of the WISE committee that she's moved out of Willington. So as soon as the formal resignation comes into the town clerk's office, we'll have an opening on that committee. Just about everything else is being handled tomorrow, as tomorrow's election day. And while I encourage you all to come out and vote, I encourage you to stop at the PTA bake sale. That will benefit the Willington Scholarship Foundation. So get some treats and to vote. Anything else?
Just to acknowledge this is a record meeting.
This is maybe our first or second meeting, it was pretty close.
No, I don't think we've ever gone over 20 minutes.
All right.
That's better than us.
Well, thank you for coming and
The Boy Scouts are having a food drive this week too, so.
Number 10.
Yeah.
They put bags out this week and they'll be picking up bags this week. If you live on,
The main roads.
well, there's only 2. I apologize, I'm going to look now to be sure I quote the right roads, because I did ask. Route 32 and Tolland Turnpike. If you're on those roads, they did not put bags out. With the amount of traffic and the speed, they didn't feel it was safe for their scouts to be out there. But they can still, you can bring it in any bag. Bring it right in here on this Saturday. So with that, I move to adjourn at 6:48 p.m.
Second.
Oh, good.